I finished Manfred before moving on to Don Juan. We left off in Act 2, I believe it's scene 4, in which we are in the temple or the presence in the high mountain of Arimanes, and Nemesis wants Manfred to name the person who he would like to raise from the grave, or here as it says, "Whom wouldst thou uncharnel? One without a tomb, call up Astarte." Okay, and we left off last time mentioning that Astarte was a goddess, Ishtar, has all sorts of connotations there, and a lot of this is Byron is now delving into Persian mythology, a sort of a Zoroastrian vintage, and notions of good and evil that arise out of that. That's how Zoroastrians conceive the world, as a battle, a titanic battle between the forces of good and evil. And as I say, in the context of when he writes this, it's 1817, so shortly after the year of the endless summer, and it's still that sense of gloominess, I think, associated with the experience of Mont Blanc stays with him. At any rate, he calls up Astarte. We're going to find something interesting about Astarte, maybe not surprising to you, but at any rate, Nemesis calls Astarte up. "Shadow or spirit, whatever thou art, which still doth inherit the whole or a part of the form of thy birth, of the mold of thy clay, which return to the earth, reappear to the day. Bear what thou borest, the heart and the form, and the aspect thou worest, redeem from the worm. Appear, appear, appear. Who sent thee there requires thee here." Phantom of Astarte rises and stands in the midst. Manfred, "Can this be death? There's bloom upon her cheek, but now I see it is no living hue, but a strange hectic, like the unnatural red which autumn plants upon the perished leaf. It is the same. O God, that I should dread to look upon the same. Astarte, no, I cannot speak to her, but bid her speak. Forgive me or condemn me." Nemesis, "By the power which hath broken the grave which enthralled thee, speak to him who hath spoken, or those who have called thee." She is silent, and in that silence I am more than answered. "My power extends no further, Prince of Air. It rests with thee alone. Command her voice." Now, Arimanes, Prince of Air, reference to Satan, Arimanes being conflated with, Arimanes, "Spirit, obey this scepter." Silent still. "She is not of our order, but belongs to the other powers. Mortal, thy quest is vain, and we are baffled also. Hear me, Astarte, my beloved, speak to me. I have so much endured, so much endure. Look on me, thy grave hath not changed thee more than I am changed for thee. Thou lovest me too much, as I loved thee. We were not made to torture thus each other, though it were the deadliest sin to love as we have loved. Say that thou loathest me not, that I do not bear this punishment for both, that thou wilt be one of the blessed, and that I shall die. For hitherto all hateful things conspire to bind me in existence, in a life which makes me shrink from immortality. A future like the past I cannot rest. I know not what I ask, nor what I seek. I feel but what thou art and what I am, and I would hear yet once more before I perish the voice which was my music. Speak to me. For I have called on thee in the still night, startled the slumbering birds from the hushed boughs, and woke the mountain wolves, and made the caves acquainted with thy vainly echoed name, which answered me. Many things answered me, spirits and men, but thou wert silent all. Yet speak to me. I have outwatched the stars and gazed over heaven in vain to search of thee. Speak to me. Phantom of Astarte. Manfred, say on, I live but in the sound. It is thy voice. Manfred, tomorrow ends thine earthly ills. Farewell. Yet one word more. Am I forgiven? Farewell. Say, shall we meet again? Farewell. One word for mercy. Say thou lovest me. Manfred. Spirit of Astarte disappears. She's gone and will not be recalled. Her words will be fulfilled. Return to the earth. A spirit, he is convulsed. This is to be immortal and seek the things beyond mortality. Yet see, he mastereth himself and makes his torture tributary to his will. Had he been one of us, he would have made an awful spirit. Hast thou further question of our great sovereign or his worshippers? None. Then for a time, farewell. We meet then where? On the earth? Even as thou wilt. And for the grace accorded, I now depart a debtor. Fare ye well. So exit scene. Act 3, Scene 1 in the hall in the castle of Manfred. So now he's back in his castle, which we have not yet been in. And he is there with a man by the name of Herman. Now, I don't want to spend the entire time going over this. What has happened here? Guilt and shame are themes present throughout the work. And he wants forgiveness. How come? What does he want forgiveness for? From his beloved Astarte. Well, it transpires that Astarte is his late lover, just happens to be his sister. If you didn't guess, just happens to be his sister. And that means that Manfred is guilty of incest, and he wants forgiveness from Astarte for this. And the reason that he's gone to the Witch of the Alps is to resurrect her or kill him so that he can be with her. Loves her to the death. The witch offered him, if you'll be my servant, you can. Oh, won't do that. Well, let's read on. What's the hour? It wants but one till sunset and promises a lovely twilight. Say, are all things so disposed of in the tower as I directed? All, my lord, are ready. Here is the key and casket. It is well. Thou mayest retire. There is a calm upon me, inexplicable stillness, which till now did not belong to what I knew of life. If that I did not know philosophy to be of all our vanities the motliest, the merest word that ever fooled the ear from out the schoolman's jargon, I should deem the golden secret, the sought Calon found and seated in my soul. It will not last, but it is well to have known it, though but once. It hath enlarged my thoughts with a new sense, and I within my tablets would note down that there is such a feeling. Who is there? My lord, the Abbot of Saint Maurice craves to greet your presence. The Abbot enters. Peace be with Count Manfred. Thanks, Holy Father. Welcome to these halls. Thy presence honors them and blesseth those who dwell within them. Would it were so, Count, but I would fain confer with thee alone. Herman, retire. What would my reverend guest? Thus, without prelude, age and zeal, my office and good intent must plead my privilege. Our near, though not acquainted neighborhood, may also be my herald. Rumors strange and of unholy nature are abroad, and busy with thy name, a noble name for centuries. May he who bears it now transmit it unimpaired. Proceed. I listen. 'Tis said thou holdest converse with the things which are forbidden to the search of man, that with the dwellers of the dark abodes, the many evil and unheavenly spirits which walk the valley of the shade of death, thou communest I know that with mankind, thy fellows in creation, thou dost rarely exchange thy thoughts, and that thy solitude is as an anchorite's, were it but holy. And what are they who do avouch these things, my pious brethren? The scared peasantry, even thy own vassals, who do look on thee with most unquiet eyes. Thy life's in peril. Take it. I come to save and not destroy. I would not pry into thy secret soul. But if these things be sooth, there still is time for penitence and pity. Reconcile thee with the true church, and through the church to heaven. I hear thee. This is my reply. Whate'er I may have been, or am, doth rest between heaven and myself. I shall not choose a mortal to be my mediator. Have I sinned? Have I sinned against your ordinances? Prove and punish. My son, I did not speak of punishment, but penitence and pardon. With thyself, the choice of such remains. And for the last, our institutions and our strong belief have given me power to smooth the path from sin to higher hope and better thoughts. The first I leave to heaven. Vengeance is mine alone, so saith the Lord. And with all humbleness, his servant echoes back the awful word. Old man, there is no power in holy men. No charm, nor charm in prayer, nor purifying form of penitence, nor outward look, nor fast, nor agony, nor, greater than all these, the innate tortures of that deep despair, which is remorse without the fear of hell, and all in all sufficient to itself, would make a hell of heaven, can exorcise from out the unbounded spirit the quick sense of its own sins, wrongs, sufferance, and revenge upon itself. There is no future pang can deal that justice on the self-condemned he deals on his own soul. All this is well, for this will pass away and be succeeded by an auspicious hope, which shall look up with calm assurance to that blessed place, which all who seek may win, whatever be their earthly errors, so they be atoned. And the commencement of atonement is the sense of its necessity. Say on, and all our church can teach thee shall be taught, and all we can absolve thee shall be pardoned. When Rome's 6th emperor was near his last, the victims of a self-inflicted wound, to shun the torments of a public death from senates once his slaves, a certain soldier with show of loyal pity would have staunched the gushing throat with his officious robe. The dying Roman thrust him back and said, some empire still in his expiring glance, it is too late. Is this fidelity? And what of this? I answer with the Roman, it is too late. Okay, so I'm going to skip over a little bit here. That exchange is rather helpful, but the abbot tries to bring him to repentance. He will not accept repentance because it's far too late for that. Manfred and Herman, scene 2 here. Line. Another chamber. My lord, you bade me wait on you at sunset. He sinks beyond the mountain. Doth he so? I will look on him. Manfred advances to the window of the hall. Glorious orb, the idol of early nature, and the vigorous race of undiseased mankind, the giant sons of the embrace of angels, with a sex more beautiful than they, which did draw down the erring spirits who can ne'er return. Most glorious orb, that wert a worship, ere the mystery of thy making as revealed, thou earliest minister of the Almighty, which gladdened on their mountain tops the hearts of the Chaldean shepherds, till they poured themselves in orisons. Thou material God, and representative of the unknown, who chose thee for his shadow, thou chief star, center of many stars, which makest our earth endurable, and temperest the hues and hearts of all who walk within thy rays. Sire of the seasons, monarch of the climes, and those who dwell in them. For near or far, our inborn spirits have a tint of thee, even as our outward aspects. Thou dost rise and shine and set in glory. Fare thee well. I ne'er shall see thee more. As my first glance of love and wonder was for thee, then take my latest look. Thou wilt not beam on one to whom the gifts of the life and warmth have been of a more fatal nature. He is gone. I follow. Manfred, gone. Scene 3. Okay, the mountains, the castle of Manfred at a distance. I'm going to skip over that. I'm going to go down to scene 4. Manfred alone. It's not a long scene, but it will cut in too much into my class. Manfred alone, within the tower. But it's clear from this point he intends on ending his life. He's not going to see the next sunrise. The stars are forth, the moon above the tops of the snow-shining mountains. Beautiful. I linger yet with nature, for the night hath been to me a more familiar face than that of man, and in her starry shade of dim and solitary loveliness I learned the language of another world. I do remember me, that in my youth, when I was wandering upon such a night, I stood within the Colosseum's wall, midst the chief relics of almighty Rome. The trees which grew along the broken arches waved dark in the blue midnight, and the stars shone through the rents of ruin. From afar the watchdog bayed beyond the Tiber, and more near from out the Caesar's palace came the owl's long cry, and interruptedly of distant sentinels the fitful song begun and died upon the gentle wind. Some cypresses beyond the time-worn breach appeared to skirt the horizon, yet they stood within a bowshot. Where the Caesars dwell the tuneless birds of night, amidst a grove which springs forth through leveled battlements and twines its roots with the imperial hearths, ivy usurps the laurel's place of growth. But the gladiator's bloody circus stands, a noble wreck in ruinous perfection, while Caesar's chambers and the Augustan halls grovel on earth in indistinct decay. And thou didst shine, thou rolling moon, upon all this, and cast a wide and tender light, which softened down the hoar austerity of rugged desolation, and filled up, as 'twere anew, the gaps of centuries, leaving that beautiful which still was so, and making that which was not, till the place became religion, and the heart ran o'er with silent worship of the great of old, the dead but sceptered sovereigns who still rule our spirits from their urns. 'Twas such a night, 'tis strange that I recall at this time, but I have found our thoughts take wildest flight even at the moment when they should array themselves in pensive order. The abbot comes back in, encourages him once again to repent. He will not. And a spirit comes in. Abbot, alas, lost mortal, what with guests like these hast thou to do? I tremble for thy sake. Why doth he gaze on thee and thou on him? Ah, he unveils his aspect. On his brow the thunder scars are graven. From his eye glares forth the immortality of hell. Avaunt! Pronounce, what is thy mission? Come. What art thou, unknown being? Answer, speak. The genius of this mortal. Come. 'Tis time. I am prepared for all things, but deny the power which summons me. Who sent thee here? Thou'lt know anon. Come, come. I have commanded things of an essence greater far than thine, and striven with thy masters, get thee hence. Immortal, thine hour is come. Away, I say. I knew and know my hour is come, but not to render up my soul to such as thee. Away, I'll die as I have lived, alone. Then I must summon up my brethren. Rise. Other spirits rise up. Abbot. Avaunt, ye evil ones, avaunt, I say, ye have no power where piety hath power, and I do charge ye in the name. Old man, we know ourselves, our mission, and thine order. Waste not thy holy words on idle uses. It were in vain. This man is forfeited. Once more I summon him. Away, away. I do defy ye, though I feel my soul is ebbing from me. Yet I do defy thee, nor will I hence, while I have earthly breath, to breathe my scorn upon ye, earthly strength, to wrestle, though with spirits what ye take shall be ta'en limb by limb. Reluctant mortal, is this the Magian who would so pervade the world invisible and make himself almost our equal? Can it be that thou art thus in love with life, the very life which made thee wretched? Thou false fiend, thou liest. My life is in its last hour. That I know, nor would redeem a moment of that hour. I do not combat against death, but thee and thy surrounding angels. My past power was purchased by no compact with thy crew, but by superior science, penance, daring, and length of watching, strength of mind, and skill and knowledge of our fathers, when the earth saw men and spirits walking side by side, and gave ye no supremacy. I stand upon my strength. I do defy, deny, spurn back, and scorn ye. But thy many crimes have made thee. What are they to such as thee? Must crimes be punished but by other crimes, and greater criminals? Back to thy hell. Thou hast no power upon me, that I feel. Thou never shalt possess me, that I know. What I have done is done. I bear within a torture which could nothing gain from thine. The mind which is immortal makes itself requital for its own good or evil thoughts, is its own origin of ill and end, and its own place and time. He's echoing Milton's Satan, right? Clearly. When stripped of this mortality, derives no color from the fleeting things without, but is absorbed in sufferance or in joy, born from the knowledge of his own desert. Thou didst not tempt me, and thou couldst not tempt me. I have not been thy dupe, nor am thy prey, but was my own destroyer, and will be my own hereafter. Back, ye baffled fiends, the hand of death is on me, but not yours. The demons disappear. And of course, alas, how pale thou art, thy lips are white, and thy breast heaves, and in thy gasping throat the accents rattle. Give thy prayers to heaven, pray, albeit but in thought, but die not thus. 'Tis over my dull eyes, can fix thee not, but all things swim around me, and the earth heaves as if it were beneath me. Fare thee well. Give me thy hand, cold, cold, even to the heart. But yet one prayer, alas, how fares it with thee? Oh man, 'tis not so difficult to die. Manfred expires, he's gone, his soul hath ta'en its earthless flight, whither I dread to think, but he is gone. So the end of the play. He dies at the moment of his death. He confesses his incest with Astarte, and comes to term with his death, but will not give way to heavenly spirits or earthly or demonic spirits either. Stands above them all. This satanic defiance which the second generation of Romantics all admire, and Blake to some degree as well, is present in this man. And Manfred invokes the poem, or the drama. Manfred invokes the Miltonic framework of good and evil, but denies the existence of spirits, or rather presents them only to defy them. He's going to live a secular life and die a secular death. But the hero's commission of incest will again raise in the minds of his audience the allegations made towards Byron that he has committed incest with his half-sister Augusta Lee, for obvious reasons. He courts it. He does not shy away from it. He presents it. His own notoriety precedes him. Doesn't try and hide from it. He puts it right out there in his hero, and he is unapologetic about it. These are your definitions of good and evil. I'm beyond those things. So he's a sort of a Nietzschean Übermensch, beyond good and evil. Like, those are your codes. Those are codes made by lesser men. I am not one of those men. Don't presume to judge me. Whether you judge him heroic or you think that he is a scandalous person who cultivates that's another issue entirely. But any comments or questions about Manfred, the conclusion of Manfred? Or have you had quite enough of Manfred? But you get a sense of the sort of typical Byronic hero, and even the setting here in the Alps, the sublime landscape, the Gothic, the darkness, all of those things go with Byronic heroes. The Dark Knight, and all of his ilk that populate Western literature after Byron are there.